children. Okay, we've got something really special this morning. You may notice that I have got somebody with me. Now, this is Luca, and she's going to tell you a little bit about herself in just a minute. Today's art, so this week's and next week's art, is a little bit different. So those of you that know me, you might have seen that I've actually published 2 children's books. I've got Dreams of Colour here and Dreams of Jungle. Now, they have been out for a little while now. I did those earlier this year, and then we finished Dreams of Jungle not too long ago, didn't we, Luca? So Luca actually illustrated the books for me, which are amazing. Now, Luca's a former St. Mary's pupil. And she's going to tell you a little bit about herself. So Luca, hi. Would you like to tell them a little bit about who you are and what you've done and what you're doing right now?
Yeah, so I went to St. Mary's and I always loved art and drawing, and then when I got to like GCSE and A level I carried on with art, drawing, and then I decided to go to university and study illustration, and I'm in my final year, and then obviously I worked on projects like with you doing the 2 books, which was really fun.
So Luca has nearly finished her university journey now, and she's about to kind of go out and make a name for herself, and she already has. She's illustrated 2 children's books already. It's absolutely amazing, and she's done a wonderful job. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a separate video where I can read you these stories so that you can see the full book and all of the illustrations inside for any of you that are curious. But I didn't want to take too much of Luca's time on here, okay? Because really what I'm here to talk to you about this morning and to get you to do is some illustrations yourself. So Luca is going to talk to us a little bit about the things that she's done and the thing that she did to create the illustrations for this book. So it's almost going to be a step-by-step guide for you guys. Now, I know loads of you are really keen on writing short stories, on doing comic books and things like that. And I've seen the efforts that you've done in school, and they're amazing. They're really good, really exciting, fun ideas. So what I want you to think about is maybe some of those stories that you've made up in the past. You might have written some down, perhaps a comic book that you might have even been working on before the school closed. And then we're going to use those ideas to do some artwork. But we're going to do it as an illustrator. So I've got 2 tasks for you. We're going to be doing one this week where we're looking at putting an entire book story together with images, and then next week we're going to have a look at doing an entire illustration for a page, so that then you guys have all the skills you need to create your own books or comics or whatever you decide to do with it. How exciting! Right then, Luca, so can you talk to us about where you start? So after our first meeting, when we got together and I talked to you about the story, told you the story, and we basically hashed out loads of ideas, didn't we? What was the next part? What did you then do?
So I made up a big storyboard full of all of the ideas and what we discussed. So a really rough, like unneat sketches, just to get like all my ideas out of my head and onto a bit of paper. And then I think from there you start working them up a bit more. You might do character designs or like background designs of what you want to include on each page, and then you start just gradually making them neater until you got a finished page, I guess.
Fantastic. So what I'll do, if I share my screen, then we can have a little look at those storyboards then, shall we?
Yeah.
So Luca, this is your finished storyboard, or you would call it, what would you call it?
I guess just like my finished workups of it all, or if you're being technical, they're thumbnails, how we call them at uni, but storyboard, things like that are fine.
Yeah, so these are all the pages, and this one is from the Dreams of Colour book. Okay, so Luca, can you tell us how you kind of put this together?
Yeah, so this is just all of my sketches and ideas, and then the way I created each page was by drawing each double page up. So I could look at it as a full page, so I could see what it would look like when it's the actual book. And then from there, when I wanted to have the 2 separate pages, I just kind of cut it in half. So then I could see each individual page rather than the double spread.
So a bit like this one up here, where you drew this as a whole double page, is that right? And then to make the individual pages, you've literally cut them in half.
Yeah.
Perfect. Amazing. Okay, so what I would like you guys to do is have a little go at this yourself. So let's have a look. We've got another one here as well. There we go. This is the Dreams of Jungle book. And you can see here that Luke has done the same on these ones. She's drawn everyone as a double page. Okay. And then they get split into the individual pages. So I would like you to think about a story or an idea for a story. Okay, so you might have been doing something with your other lessons, with your teachers. Maybe there's something that you just quite like doing. Okay, and I want you to think about that story and who it involves, what characters it might involve. Okay, what might the pictures of that story look like? Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch back to me and Luca for a second, and we're going to have a little bit of a chat about how you can do that. Right, so Luca is going to tell us a little bit about how to do this. So I really hope that you're ready to start, already starting to think about some ideas for your little story adventure that you're going to be doing and your illustrations you're going to be doing it with. Now, what I want you to think about is, remember, this is our art lesson. So it's not so much about the story itself and the words. I want you to be able to tell this story using the images. I would love it if you could literally look at your entire storyboard and know what's happening without any words at all. Now, of course, like my book, you can add words in after, but I remember, Luca, you told me that, especially on Dreams of Colour, that was the very last thing you did, wasn't it? You did all the images first. Is that right?
Yeah, so I started off, to make your storyboard, you kind of think about how many pages you're going to be or going to make, and then draw a box for each of the pages, and then in that box do some really rough black and white sketches just to get an idea of what you want to do for your final thing. So.
Oh, and I have to say, particularly the children at St. Mary's are excellent at their sketching now. Remember the rules. Like Luke was saying, remember, this is not about having a perfect finished picture. That's what we're going to work on in the next lesson. This first session is about you plotting your story. Okay. So Luca, on these rough sketches, did you add any details like colour and things like that?
No, I kept them all black and white, just really rough, just so I can get a really rough basic idea of what my ideas would be. And then that all comes later, colours and words and things.
Oh, fab. Okay. Did you make any notes when you were doing this? So was there any
I
like
did,
notes?
yeah. So I had I made sure to write the page numbers at the top, so I knew what page that would be. Then underneath I made really rough notes, so like if my sketches were a bit rough, the notes would help me understand what I drew and like why I drew it. So that was really helpful.
Fab. And the great thing that actually might help you guys, Dreams of Colour is the first book, and it's introducing the character Mia here. Okay, and actually her world starts grey. Everything is grey. There is no colour. Okay, the only thing that she can see on this page is as the sun's rising. Okay, but her whole world is black and white. It's just this greyness, and then the colour comes through into it. So the start of this book is quite a good idea of kind of how to do those first rough sketches. Obviously, it's not going to look like this at this stage. Okay, so keep the colour out of it. Do a storyboard, or as Luca would say, thumbnails. So you can literally just draw some little rectangles, decide how long you want your story to be. It might just be 3 or 4 pages, which is absolutely fine. You might be feeling extra adventurous and want to show more detail and maybe do 6 or 8 pages. okay? Do them as the double pages, like Luca said, okay? Because that's going to make it easier for you to do the artwork. Now, not every page needs to be a double page spread. Some of the pages are quite adventurous. You've got things like this, where it's 2 separate parts. So think about how a book or a comic is constructed. Now, for a comic, this page here that Luca did is a really good example. Can you see how she's got the double page and then she divided it up into 3 parts? Now, if you're interested in doing comics, then that's actually what a kind of technique that quite a few comics uses, doesn't it? It's not all in order and beautifully neat, like a normal storybook. So, your task for today, I would like you to have a think about just a story. It could be anything at all. It could be you. Maybe you're the main character. How exciting. Maybe you could go on an adventure. Maybe you could be like Mia and you could get your paints out or get something that you're excited about. Maybe your dolls or your, oh my goodness, who knows, maybe just your books. If you're quite, my little girl, she loves reading and she would quite happily sit for hours and read. But imagine, take that a step further. Maybe your story could be that you get sucked into that book and you're going on to this exciting, different world adventure. Maybe you start painting like Mia and you create, you transform your own room and your environment into this magical world. It could be anything you want. Maybe if you quite like football, you're out playing football and suddenly there's a giant hole in the ground and you get sucked into it. Okay, and you go on some kind of, maybe there's an underground world of dinosaurs and things like that. So have a think. You don't have to write this story. This is not a writing exercise. This is an art exercise, okay? So I want you just to create little rectangle storyboards. So you can either go for 3 or 4, or you might want to be a bit more adventurous and go for 6, 8, or even more. Who knows? It's totally up to you. Okay, and all I want you to do this week is think about that adventure. Do your storyboard, so your little rectangles, and these are rough sketches. This does not need to be perfect, okay? And I want you to sketch in what's happening in each part. And then like Luca said, you can make notes. You can put what's happening in the picture. Is there anything else you included in those notes, Luca?
I don't think so. Maybe just like a little number next to it so you know what page it is and what order it goes in.
Yep, so the page number, so to make sure you keep track of the order, because I know Luca was saying, oh, my sketchbook can be quite messy, and that's fine. That is perfect. That's exactly what sketchbook should be, okay? So I would like you to go and create your storyboard, all right? And just make a little note of the story and the ideas. You do not need to write this story. We are going to tell it through art. Yes. Okay, right. I'm going to leave you here and I can't wait to see these. I am actually really excited. And I'm going to show Luca some of the things that you come up with as well as we do it, because I'm sure she's super excited too. So I will see you next week for your next lesson, where we're actually going to have a look at each individual picture and how to put that together and create it and make it amazing. All right, take care. Bye.